And we're back. Third game in a row. We are on Australia versus France. Welcome back to the stream, everyone. We're playing Unicorn on the Australian side and Lion on the France side. And if we look at both players' deck lists, it's kind of an interesting matchup. I think these two deck lists are um, not necessarily orthodox. So on the Unicorn side, we have kind of a more mid-range Unicorn playing Miyamoto's Fury to try and bounce those early conflicts to try and keep the break tempo ahead of their opponents. We've got let goes, so that could turn into quite a key thing. There's no attachment control on the Dynasty side for the Unicorn player. Keeper of Earth. What's their Earth card? It's got to be that one that gives them extra stands up guys. Oh, maybe not. Not entirely sure. Either. Let's join the fray. Oh, this is the charge for a unicorn. Way the unicorn is quite an interesting choice. I think to try and keep the pressure on their opponent. Stay your hand because who doesn't love policy debates against their unicorn deck? Other than that, Ring of Binding is an interesting one. Yeah, just a little bit left of center, I think. All of the key pieces are there, but he's taken the core of the tech and put his own flavor into it, which I like. On the Lion side, I think it's actually very, very similar. So notable mentions here are your Adorned Barchar and Bladed 10,000 Bells. Policy Debate is the restricted card, but it's only added two of. The attachment control, we've got two Mew Mystics on this side. Prepare for War. Character you control. So this would be attachment control for your guys, right? Like if your guys get clouded and stuff. But if your opponent plays their Barchar or their attachments on their guys, then that's not really going to help you. Two-way the Lions, stands and move-ins for days, getting events for days. This one, of course, is running some conflict characters, which is always good. Shinjo Ambush, a great card. So I think. Oh, Disciple of Shinsei is also on the Dynasty side. Can you? Oh no, sorry. I was wondering whether you could Unicorn charge that character in, but I think it says you. Oh, it's cavalry, so you can charge in a cavalry character. So yeah, seems a little bit more toolbox on the Lion side. Province-wise, looks like we've got Manicured Upholding, Dishonorable Assault, Shameful Display, and Out of War. I think Dishonorable Assault is the stronghold province in this one. If either player gets to the box, it could be quite a bit of a challenge for both players. Whoever gets to the box first has got to have a good amount of advantage. On the Unicorn side, we've got Border Fortress Upholding, Khan's Order, Shameful Display, and Rally. So I think Rally's on the box. Border Fortress looks like all the Unicorn player wants is to have military conflicts this game. And let's be fair, that's probably what the Lion player wants as well. Although, have we got an Ujiaki? No Ujiaki. Tactician, Ikehard is quite good, actually. Yeah, it was kind of good. You don't see it too much these days, but it was quite good maybe 8 months ago. Maybe less. 6 months ago. Yes. All right. Let me just put this over here. Not quite sure. Were they waiting for me? Just tell them I'm ready. I guess while I have a little bit of a captive audience, no pun intended, you guys might be interested in checking out the Imperial Advisor. They put up an article, I think it was yesterday or maybe early this morning, about an event that was going on in Spain, which was quite interesting. In the top 4 for that event was a Phoenix Enlightenment deck. And I have been told that there's a stream around there somewhere for it, so probably worth all of us catching up on that one. Okay, straight into the game. This is quite a stronghold, I think, against this unicorn style because you do tend to have just a few more important key guys on the table than just flooding the table with bodies, which makes it a little bit more impactful. I do like the choice of like Miyamoto's Fury for the Unicorn restricted card because in this kind of matchup, it's going to make those early attacks from the line player. You know, you're not fighting quite as close to the wall with your back up against the wall in terms of breaks. If you can get some, get some of those early. So if we look at the mulligans, I think that might be what he's doing. He's mulligan 4 cards. So for the people that are interested, if you mulligan 4 cards, if you look at 8 cards in your conflict deck, I think the odds are 50% of seeing at least one copy of a card that you've got 3 copies of in your conflict deck. So whatever he's looking for, possibly one of those 3 copies. If it's 2 copies, it's obviously less in terms of the odds, and I think there's only 2 copies of Fury in the Unicorn player's deck. Okay. So out of the gate, we see a keeper on the lion side and a Mozzo. Mozzo is quite good, as we saw in the previous Unicorn versus Lion game. They're taking the teeth out of the Unicorn player, but Unicorn seeing a Gunso gets out a Border Rider is going to make that less impactful. So getting 2 bodies for the price of 1 here. I think we probably should see this motor. No, never mind. I should read the chat box. So both players just getting a few characters onto the table. Unicorn banking a bit of fate here, maybe for a late game cab reserves. What did Gunso put in the bin? Got a Suko. I remember the Unicorn players saying that if he gets an early Suko, it's quite a good card for him. So I'm not sure why it didn't get bought. Maybe Gunso is just a better buy in this early game. Maybe Suko gets charged into play. Who knows? Not charge, but you know what I mean. Unicorn charge, right? So Lion is going for a Ring of Void, I guess to take it off the table on political against this Suko. Suko could activate Khan's Ordu maybe, or Rally to the Cause. If he's going to try and flip it to political, I think Khan's Ordu might be a better flip here. The Unicorn deck has 3 Shinja ambushes in it, and that is all. So he has Khan's Ordu on the box, he flips it, and we are now in a military conflict. That's not bad for the Lion player, because now he's already at 5, which is breaking. Both players bid 5, so Suko brings in the Border Rider. The Border Rider, of course, has a straighten, so the fact that he's now in as a defender probably is going to force a bunch of cards to be played, probably on both sides here. Certainly, Unicorn doesn't necessarily want to lose that Suko, especially since there's one already in the bin. There's no guarantee that another one's going to turn up this game. So we see a Finger of Jade, perhaps protecting against an Assassinate or a... There is an Assassinate in the Lion player's deck, so I think that it might be protecting against that. This Lion deck has no strength in numbers. There's really nothing else that kind of targets the opponent. So Fury is going to bow the Matsusuko, and this border rider looks like on the face of it is just going to pick up this ring. I think that a conflict character would be played into this conflict if it could, but Pol is passed, so maybe he just doesn't have a conflict character. If he did, it would be nice because then you could HMT. We see a policy debate with the bowed Suko versus the border rider. It's a 3 versus 2 initially, so we'll see what the bids end up being. I don't think either player is going to necessarily bid to win here. Unicorn might, because they can yurt to kind of bring their honor back up if they need to. Did I miss something? Oh, it got Finger of Jaded. Okay. So we see a fan of commands to straighten the Matsutsuko. It's possible that Unicorn has a let go. I mean, this is the kind of card that would be great for. No let go, so we are 5-2. Both players investing 2 cards, so nobody's really gone over the top, I think. Hallett of Paul elects to pass. He's still not breaking the alliance, still not breaking the province, so he's going to keep the Tsuko. So probably just hedging his bets here. The Void Ring, if the Void Ring goes off, obviously it's not going to get rid of any fate on the Unicorn player's side, so no big deal. Sharpen the Mind comes in on Tsuko, so we could see another card going to the bin. Let's face it, it's probably going to be In Service to My Lord, because that's just the way that card works. Which is going to give Lion +3. No, he throws a Sharpen the Mind instead to get a +3. Water Fortress is broken. Tsuko goes into the bin. That's a little bit unfortunate for Unicorn because that's a really strong card that they may not have access to outside of cavalry reserves. But the Lion player, I think, did have to invest 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards into this conflict. 3 of them obviously are on characters that's going to stay around for a turn, so that's good. It's quite good. Grabs his Keeper Initiate because he is the Keeper of Void. That explains the Void. That explains the Void selection. He discarded. Oh, he did discard In Service to My Lord. Oh, hang on. Oh, he did. Yeah, sorry, my mistake. I misread that chat log. Such a good card, In Service to My Lord. So we are bringing back Motso for another attack potentially. Thanks, Shoot. I wasn't sure if the chat was working because nobody was saying anything in the last game. So I'm like, I kept going back to OBS to make sure that, people can actually hear me and they can see the game and it is actually streaming. Okay, so the Gunso is coming in here on the Ring of Earth against Upholding Authority. With 6 cards in hand, that could hit some useful things. It's only coming in on 1 skill for the moment. And anything invested onto the Gunso is going to be lost at the end of the turn. So there's the conflict character. That there must be only a few. He must only have a couple in his. Well, actually, there's only 3 in the deck. So where I was thinking earlier, if he won the military conflict on defense, he could HMT. This is probably a much better use of the Shinjo Ambusher. Yeah, that's right. Probably nobody is around to watch the stream. That makes me feel better and worse. So we are breaking Upholding Authority here. I think the honor totals here, it's probably not the most. Oh, actually, sorry, never mind. You ambush it to turn off the upholding authority, but not the art of war. So Talisman comes down for the Lion player to move us over to Art of War, which is, let's face it, not quite as devastating as a potential upholding authority. But if the Unicorn could have cancelled that, I'm sure he would want to. At least we see that the Talisman is now on the table, and we can actually, um, the Unicorn player can start making strategies around that. Looks like both players are going to be drawing a whole bunch of cards from this conflict. Unicorn is on Dragon Splash, so unfortunately there's no in-service to my Lord for the Unicorn player. So if I'm right, Tactical Ingenuity, Fan of Command, and Sharpen the Mind have all been used here. So both players on one. I always find that in these games, the first turn really does kind of set the tone for the rest of the game. Whereas in some games, it's the case that the first turn is a little bit of a nothing turn. But in these games, I think for Unicorn, maybe not so much for Lion, but for Unicorn, they really do. They really do try and. Sorry, what am I trying to say? The Unicorn kind of generate this advantage on turn one that they can kind of ride through for the rest of the game. So the Lion player is in a good spot here. Unicorn's got two more conflicts, but you got to wonder. Actually, whose conflict opportunity is it? So the Border Rider just stood up. I think Paul just attacked. So it's Lion, right? So Lion has to attack water in order to prevent the Unicorn player from generating too much advantage here by attacking water and standing up more guys and having more conflicts. So Courtier's passes, so we're on the Unicorn side, so I think he's just trying to sequence something up. Did he pass? He did actually. So actually, Lion player passed his conflict opportunity. So the next conflict is to the Unicorn player. So I think Unicorn's going to want to attack water here. What will he do to try and win this conflict? Almost certainly he has some bonsais here, but this motto, how big is this motto? 7. That's a lot. That's a lot of skill to come up against. Oh, so the tactical ingenuity had not been used, so now it's been used to pick out a way the Lion. So that's 10 potential skill on the table here for Mozzo, for the Lion player. Oh, it's a second tactical ingenuity, excuse me. Yeah, I don't know. I think right here, you might want to pass as the Unicorn. Yeah. So potentially the Unicorn player has another conflict, but I am struggling to see how they're going to initiate that conflict. I no longer struggle to see how they're going to initiate that conflict because Elegant Essence amazing. So the Border Rider seems to be their shtick, right? They just in a whole bunch of conflicts. So the Border Rider coming on fire to dishonor Mozzo. Mozzo probably doesn't care because Lion player have the, you know, honor this character. Discard a bunch of attachments and then honor this character. Excuse me. Discard a bunch of attachments or status tokens and then honor this character. It's like a let go and a soul beyond reproach all in one. I think this is good. This is the kind of advantage that I'm talking about, right? So Unicorn does really want to generate the advantage in this first turn, right? Because in turn 2, they're now in striking distance of the stronghold. The Unicorn doesn't have a whole lot of fate to invest into his second turn, so we might see these 2 cards stay in the provinces. But certainly in terms of who's controlling the pace of this game, it's, I think, the Unicorn. In terms of honor and cards, both players have invested approximately the same amounts, and maybe nobody's going to get the favor. Does Lion care? Lion does have 2 censures, so it is a little bit. He's probably a little bit unhappy about not getting the favor. All right. So turn 2, we see. Oh no, Paul does end up discarding those cards and bringing in 3/1 costs. Well, it's probably a good thing that Lion didn't get the favor or the cancels, because something tells me Cav reserves is going to be pretty key. When is Cav reserves not key? Let's face it. So Yurt brings in Yasamura. Yasamura is pretty good. The character can't be declared as a defender this phase. So Motso, are there any Fingers of Jade? There's no Finger of Jade in the Lion deck, so Motso might be just an attacking character here. The Disciple of Shinsei could... No, that's not really going to get rid of anything on the Unicorn side right now. Child of the Plains. It's a cute card. How do you guys feel about this card? I mean, what's Unicorn going to do as first player in an attacking conflicts? So Unicorn just buying 2 cheap characters, giving himself plenty of fate to play the Cav reserves when that comes up. Both players going for 5. That Yurt really didn't make an impact in terms of honor. Both players going to be bidding 5 for a long time yet. So Unicorn, so they can come and grab the fate off this air ring. There's a bunch of guys without fate, so Water Ring could do something, but I think they're kind of all low value. Void Ring would do a little bit to take this Motso down just a tad, but not going to do it too much against him this turn. I think Earth. If your opponent has, if the hand difference is only a couple of cards, Earth doesn't seem that great, but I mean, Earth's always great, as is Void, almost always. So maybe you just go for the good stuff. So Unicorn playing a Let Go on the Talisman, so that he doesn't have to hit this Upholding Authority, hopefully. I think there's only 1 Talisman in the Lion deck, so the Unicorn player no longer really needs to worry about that. Can Motso be used on himself? No. No, he has to be participating. So I think Yasamura and I think both of these guys are going to go ahead and hit whatever this province is. See if we can figure out what it's going to be. It could be a Shameful, or it could be Dishonorable Assault. So I think Dishonorable Assault's probably on the box. So Unicorn has to play around attacking into a Shameful, probably. Can Motso come in to the conflict? How does Motso get into the conflict? Is there a I suppose there could be some favored mounts. Call to War, that's the Fate one, isn't it? Yeah, that's not it. I think it's just favored mounts, yeah. Yeah, so Yasamura only prevents them from declaring, not necessarily moving. The Dawn Barchar will do it. That's the card. So Yasamura is going to covert this guy, but he's going to Adorn Barchar in and then hit somebody. You're quite right about Cavalry Reserves being a good first play. I think Tetsuko. Tetsuko would be real nice, right? Tetsuko, Border Rider. Yeah, something like that. Maybe a Moto Youth. Barchar's so good. So good. Love it. I think because of some of the interesting interactions around Barchar, like where you can't necessarily move in, but you can still bow a guy, are a bit weird. But uh, it's a two cost, relatively high risk attachment, so it's good. All right, so Paul passes. Oh my God, how many heads does this Mozzo have? Fan of commands, a Barchar, and a fan. Okay, he's a beast. 8-4. If he wasn't dishonored, he would be even bigger. So here we see. So looks like Unicorn is going to make the line player play all their stuff. Not that they haven't been playing a whole bunch of stuff at this point already. Coverting through Motso, reacting with Yasamura. So he's got the first attack. Is it a Cav Reserves? Nope. Oh, he didn't come in with the Child of the Plains. So Barchar comes in. Motso comes in with the Barchar. Do we see Cav Reserves? I think we do. I think getting in this Border Rider would be really valuable, and the Tetsuko. Getting up over this character. I mean, let's face it, Unicorn can probably win military conflicts if they want. It's definitely a thing I've heard that they can do. Yeah. So Cav Reserves bringing in Tetsuko, Border Rider, and a Moto Youth. Defend your honor. Stay your hand. Oh, the spice. The spice is real. Stay your hand. Cancels the defend your honor. Lion plays a second defend your honor. I mean, there's no way you can win this duel, right? A second stay your hand. That's brilliant. I can think of no better uses of stay your hand in this matchup because I'm pretty sure. Oh no, policy debates in here on the Lion side, right? Yeah. Okay. So now it kind of means those policy debates I think are wide open because I think there was only two. Yeah, only two stay your hand. Wait a second. What's happened? Cav reserves. Sorry, my bad. There was not a second stay your hand. So both players bidding because there's no way you can win that. There's not enough fate here for a second Cav reserves. So Motto pulls in the Child of the Plains. And now, does Unicorn try and break here? I'm not sure that they do. I think that Lion are probably better off attacking on water in the next conflict, and then they can straighten Motso. It's looking very favourable for the Lion right here. So Paul passes. Motso uses his tactical ingenuity. Paul passes again. I keep saying Motso as if like the player is called Motso, but he's clearly the star of the show right here. So we see Spoils of War on the lion side, picking up a whole bunch of cards. Cards are good in card games, right? Shameful Display is defended, and the Unicorn has lost their military attack for this turn. I don't think that there is another military attack available for Unicorn. Their provinces are Shameful Display. Oh, Rally. Rally's in the row. He Lion plays in service to my lord to Bower Keeper Initiate to straighten Motso. There we go. He's attacking it on Void because, of course, you don't need water now. You're already straight. Void is going to get rid of the Yasamura, so good long-term play here. Nobody needs air. Oh, how did this Dishonor token go away, by the way? I think I missed that. Court Games. Takes Court Games and adds it to their hand. But he doesn't play it. Not sure. Okay, so we're now. Oh, so Lion has hit Rally to the cause. Looks like it does not get flipped to military. I don't really know what the line of play is here for Unicorn. Unicorn doesn't defend, so I guess goodbye Rally. So now there's no more military attacks available for Unicorn. Unicorn's going into next turn with 2 fates and not very many characters on the table. Not looking great. Oh, Shameful, of course. Oh my god. So now we have a gifted and honored tactician, who my guess is going to come in on. God, it almost doesn't matter. You might not go in on air, so you can attack for 2 fate next turn. So Void to get rid of Yasamura seems like a good play. Or not. So we're attacking in with Disciple and a Gifted Tactician on Shameful Display, which is straight up going to break. It's going to generate an extra card for the line player. Even more advantage. Oh, Talisman of the Sun. Where is he going to put that? Upholding? That's the last province in the row, so it does seem good. But, you know, is it good enough? Nope, because Shinjo Ambusher is a thing. Okay, so Lion is now on Unicorn box. Unicorn still needs 2 conflicts next turn in order to get to in order to win against the Lion, at least 2 conflicts. He's going to need to do that with 8 fate. Lion's going to grab the favor right here, and Lion does have 2 censures in the deck. Disciple of Shinsei gets rid of Talisman of the Sun. That's unfortunate. How many talismans are in the Unicorn deck? 2. Is there one already been played? No. I've seen too many Unicorn games today. They're sort of blurring together. Alright, so Lion's first player here. I think they get out they get out their Zentaro. What did they do? LPV, sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. I missed a beat. So they got out LPB first, and then we saw a Yurt, was it? Yep. So Yasamura is going to stick around for another turn. I think on the Unicorn side, we're going to see a Border Rider and a Moto Youth. There's no way you can buy the regulars. And then maybe at some point during this turn, we see another play for um, cavalry reserves. It's worth noting that there's no in service to my lord in the discard pile for the Lion player to bring up this godly motto that's going on here. What's the out, Chopper? I'm not. I'm not sure there's really. I struggle to think of anything except if the Lion player makes some hideous mistakes. Even a really big cavalry reserves, right? So Lion is first right here with 15 cards in his hand and a bunch of fates. Um, you know what province you're attacking. There's no control from the Unicorn player in terms of talisman, but he could have a talisman in his hand. So maybe if Lion overcommits here, it could be, yeah, if Lion overcommits, that could be a way out. But I think that's a mistake on the Lion player, right? Rather than out for the Unicorn player. Yeah, yeah, 2 centaurs for the Lion player. So, he would have to have not drawn them, which, let's face it, the odds aren't good. Plus, he's got 2 tactical ingenuities on his guy. I'm sorry, 3 tactical ingenuities. So that would have to be in the bottom 6 cards of the deck. It's not looking good. This LPB is going to be a pain in the butt for anybody that comes out on Cav reserves. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. The play, Paul, Helena Paul has disconnected. What's going on? Time's running out. It's- oh no. Oh my God. Oh dear. The power in at Paul's place has dropped. What do you do? I thought it was Jigoku again. We had some problems with Jigoku. Was it yesterday? Yeah, I think we had some problems yesterday. I don't think we've had any today. Get out the tablet. Would that work? Like if you connected to Jigoku on a different device, could you join the game that you're already logged into? Maybe that's the out. Maybe that's the out for Unicorn is to just have a natural disaster in Australia and force a remake. Okay, it looks like it might have been just a temporary disruption. So even if he does bring it back, like even if the power does come back on, I'm not sure that there's any guarantee that he's going to be able to connect back into the same game. I think we can all agree that it's pretty heavily favored here for the Lion player. Um, yeah, but like I said before, if there's a big overcommitment here and a talisman, that could be a way that Unicorn brings it back. And he's back. Never mind. Yeah, maybe if both players kind of agree, they can have that 2 or 3 minutes, 3 minutes worth of time back, 3 minutes worth of overtime. Okay, so here comes that attack. Lion have been thinking about this attack for a while, so the sequencing should be perfect, right? They've had plenty of time to think about it. So coming in on water, looks like a political attack, which I think is probably a good idea. Is Unicorn playing any captive audience? I think they would be. 3 captive audience on the Unicorn side. So probably this is going to end up being a military conflict anyway. uh, Coming in on 10 political skill, but if it does turn into military, it'll end up being 16 military skill. And we know there's at least one way of the line in the line player's hand. There's a talisman. Is this the overcommitment? Is this the overcommitment we thought could have been a thing? So LPB bows this guy. We move it back. The Unicorn player moves it back to shameful. So I think. So we're going to see these tactical ingenuities. So yeah, yeah, if those censures are in like the bottom 6 cards of the deck, actually the tactical ingenuity lets you look at 5, right? 4. So actually, he's he's going to be able to look at 7 cards in total in this deck, and it's shuffled. So odds are he's going to be able to look at all of the cards that are in that conflict deck. So if he doesn't have a censure, he's going to have a censure. I don't think there are any other cancels in the Unicorn deck. No. And there's only 1 Cav reserves. Okay, so display of power gets broken. All the lion guys are going home. We know there's an adorned bar chart on the table, so Motso is going to be able to move into the conflict and straighten. Honestly, it's it's. I have no words. I have no words. So Motso uses tactical ingenuity to get him in service to my lord. Guess you can use that to straighten Motso. Wait, did I miss something? So the lion grabs a censure. Oh, the attack hasn't finished? Oh, sorry, I thought the attack had finished. Okay, so tactical ingenuity gets a censure. Somebody gets assassinated. The border rider gets assassinated. Shameful gets broken. Ashigari Levy straightens Motso for a second attack against Khan's Ordu, and it's good night for the Unicorn, right? Even if Unicorn somehow manages to attack and force a defense, then you can still attack military with the Ashigari Levy. Move in. Can you move in? During a military. Wow, can you actually adorn Bacha onto your own guy to get into a conflict and then straighten? I'll bet you can. I'll bet that's a thing that can happen. So Zentaro pops out. That gifted tactician was a Zentaro all along. Yeah, you could. That's incredible. So, looks like Unicorn have passed their conflict opportunity. So that is it. That is all over Red Rover. I guess you don't need to attack with Motsu. You can just move in if somehow magically Unicorn manages to pull something out. Any second now. No defenders end pass. I mean, if he does have a plan, he has just under 12 minutes to figure it out. The Unicorn player, that is. Suspense is killing me. Dun, 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 dun. All right. So Dodge Marcher comes on to Yasumura, who may turn up into the conflict. We already said that there's no real attachment control on the Lion side unless it was in the bought in the Dynasty phase. So this guy's definitely going to come in. I mean, there could be. Have all of those tactical ingenuities been used? So Unicorn could actually attach a. Oh, okay. So all right, hang on. Both sentences have been used here. So let go was played on the Adorned bar chart, but it was let go and then cancelled. He could play a Finger of Jade onto Yasumura, Unicorn could, and then move in with the Adorned bar chart and not worry about this bar chart. However, he probably doesn't want to do that until. Oh wait, he's in the conflict. Why is he straight? I'm definitely missing something. Kanzo do Bacha to Bao Zentaro. Oh, because Bacha doesn't straighten. Never mind. So policy debate. Unicorn's got policy debate. Nabs Cav reserves. Is there another Cav reserves? There is not. There is not another Cav reserves. How to pull passes. Motso comes in. 13-0. I gotta say, that was actually a really good play, line of play right at the end there by Unicorn. It wasn't looking good, but he had a bit of a think, and he decided on a line of play. And actually, wait, 3 cinches? I thought there were only 2. GG. Was it actually 3 cinches that get paid? So that's 1 cincher there, 1 cincher there, and I'm sure there was another cincher earlier on. He takes cincher. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Maybe it was he takes cincher. All right, that was a really good game. So, yeah, really good line of play from the Unicorn player right at the end there. Had a bit of a think, decided on a strategy. I mean, it could have worked out. It could have worked out, right? Like the line player could have not had the answers, but regardless of the odds, you've got to play them at this stage, at this point in the game, because otherwise you just straight up lose. So this is going to put France on 3. So it's 3 versus 2 to France in this matchup. We've got the last 2 games. Yeah, last 2 games to play this afternoon. I think they're in about an hour's time or so. And then, yeah. Thanks, man. They've just learnt that now. All right. Yeah, well, we were just saying actually that your final line of play was actually really well thought out because it could have worked out. It's definitely possible. Oh, actually, that reminds me. That's true. That's true. But it could have been the case. Could have been the case, right? Okay. Yeah, actually, I think I remember that. That was when you had first player, right? And that was going to pass over to the opponent. I think he ended up attacking on air after that, right? Yeah. Hmm. Oh well. I thought it was really good. It was very exciting when you played Stay Your Hands against those duels. That was really cool. And you know what else? He didn't have those censures until the later part of the game. So, you know, those cavalry reserves were what could have gone off. I did, yes, I did notice that. Yeah, yeah, you lost. Yeah, you just never buy them. Whereas the two, and you got two Tetsukos really early, and you lost one, which meant that basically you were not going to get Tetsuko this game, which is unfortunate.
Because they just attack void and suck her away, and you can't. You're gonna win one conflict, and then that's it. Although
Yep,
maybe I could have played it. Maybe I could have played it.
yep. All
Hmm.
right.
I
Well,
could
look,
claim I was unlucky, but his deck was good, so he didn't need luck.
yeah, I think it was a really close game. Kind of, it was at that knife's edge all the way through, and then somebody got an advantage and then just rode the advantage all the way to the end,
Yeah,
which is what you
yeah, but he had value from turn one. Like I was playing cards. Like I had to play a Fury, which was one fate, and he used a Fang Command, which is one fate. But then that Fang Command was there all game, whereas the Fury was gone.
Yeah, and that Motso, oh man, like
Motto, yeah.
Motso. Commanders are good. Commanders are real good.
Oh, it's a crazy deck. And it's a very well put together one too. Like it's got lots of toolbox. Like there's no sort of spicy wacky cards. It's all just like two of this, two of that.
Mm, yep. Well,
Hmm.
look, well played. So I guess we're
Thank
going
you,
to
man.
need Australia's going to need to rely on Spiv to take
Yeah,
to
Conan and
take
Spiv, man.
take the win, right? So if Conan
Conan
wins
and
his
Spiv.
game, it's all up
Yeah,
to
yeah,
that dragon deck.
yeah.
All right. Well, look, thank
I'm gonna
you
get some
very
dinner.
much for playing the game.
Thank you for
Thanks.
streaming the game.
No worries. It's going to be a long day.
Yeah,
Thanks.
yeah. You're
Thanks to
more than halfway there.
everybody watching. Thanks to the organizers. Well played. See you in the next one.
See you later.